Good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome to another rendition of Frontline News, where we bring you the news from across urban America and beyond. News and conversation from urban America and beyond. Welcome, everybody. Good evening. Hope everyone is somewhere safe, sitting back, uh, maybe enjoying a nice glass of wine right about now, and maybe just sitting back listening to us this evening. I am joined by one of my co-hosts this evening, um, and my other co-host is rained out. It is stormy out there. Tornado warnings are everywhere. So I hope that you are somewhere safe, just listening to us, being safe and sheltered in. Um, Hopefully this will pass sometime this evening. And without further ado, we have our former mayoral candidate of Baltimore City and our mayoral candidate currently, who we're going to claim it in Jesus' name, our next mayor of Baltimore City, Yolanda Pulley. Good evening, my sister. Oh, yeah, I got to clap it up for you this evening.
Wow.
You're lucky I give you the crows, like
the what?
Or was the crows or some other sound effect, like. Oh yeah, we came prepared tonight. I told you we're gonna step our game up. We got a little bit of intro music, maybe hopefully somebody out there submit some original music to us. We wouldn't mind playing it. Maybe somebody even write us a theme song for Frontline News.
I can write it. You gonna sing it?
Well, here's the thing. I was just thinking about it. Instead of necessarily singing it, remember we talked about one time of doing a rendition of The Revolution Will Not Be Televised.
Well, I wrote it,
and I know you wrote it, and that maybe that's we'll get a little hip hop music playing in the background and get you to recite. Because again, he had some jazz playing. He had a jazz band playing. When he composed the Revolution Won't Be Televised. So, but
I actually just watched his what's the name on it was on what is it called what is it called? Wait a minute.
Netflix?
No.
I'm not sure why all of a sudden you're kind of low. Make sure your microphone is not sitting on something.
I have it on my stand.
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, now I can.
What is that thing that we get across on Facebook? Wait a minute. Donna said they have no internet now.
And she's showing us pictures of coming from Tawny Town, where it looks like they're going to need an ark and start collecting animals 2 by 2.
Yeah, so this is called Push Black. It said the Godfather rap. He undefined our understanding of the revolution. Even if you haven't heard of his music, you heard of his message. The revolution will not be televised. Was him calling out injustice. But now in this era of social media, we must ask, should the revolution be televised? It should be live streamed.
I think that's interesting. If we have to ask, should the revolution be televised? I think in some cases, the revolution, you say this all the time, won't be live streamed. But we know that, technically it probably will, once the revolution starts. And we see across America right now.
The revolution should be televised. I mean, should be live streamed.
Should be live streamed. And we see right now what's going on across America with QAnon and the Proud Boys and all these different groups out there. We're seeing incidences popping up throughout the country. And you actually shared an incident that took place. I'm not sure if you want to set us up for that as the start of our conversation, but you actually sent me something.
You got to play it first.
All right. So this took place.
Did you share our stuff on social media?
I'm in the process of trying to do that now. Maybe I'll wait a few minutes before we get going. Maybe I'll do the housekeeping first. But right now, folks, if you have an opportunity, please share. Please make sure you like, subscribe, all that great stuff, and make sure you get the word out. We're going to be talking about, you know, are we in the middle of or the beginnings of a civil war in this country?
A racial civil war.
A racial war in this country.
No, it's racial. It'll be a racial civil war.
Racial civil war. Wow. So are we on the cusp, of that? Are we seeing signs throughout this country, especially, there is a fight for America. On one hand, you have Donald Trump, who's been indicted multiple times now, facing charges. One particular charge, of course, is basically conspiring against the United States government, treason, which is, in some cases, I heard treason can be a sentence of death in this country. Will Donald Trump face the firing squad? But we know that he's right now basically inciting his base, getting his base riled up, because he's saying that basically that, this is part of that oppressive part of America that keeps coming down on white supremacy, which they should. I think everybody should come down on white supremacy and eradicate white supremacy from this country. But we see that there's this battle line being formed now. And I told Yolanda earlier, the battle line has been formed for quite a while, because Barack Obama only won by a little bit over 51% of the vote. And same thing with Donald Trump. He only won by a little bit over 51% of the vote. So there's this divide in America. And there's definitely a solid white and black divide in America.
I have my thing is that we have two wars going on. We have the war against, and it's for some reason it's always the war against black people. We have the racial war that's the civil racial war that's going on, what that can happen that's coming down the pike. And then we have the domestic terrorism that's going on in our own city. So we're not just fighting one war. We're fighting more than one war if you live in poor, impoverished communities. We're fighting 3 wars if you're talking about the war on politics. We need to do the war on politics. Like, at what point do you say the revolution, that you fall in love with the revolution instead of the evolution?
When you mean there's multiple wars going on, you mean economics? One.
That's the politics.
Correct?
That's the politics side.
Right. What's the other battle? So we know, again, economics is one. What's the other battle?
We have the civil racial war that we're going to watch on thing, if you could pull it up. And then we have the domestic war that goes on in our own community against our own people. So that's 3 wars, and yet all of us black people are caught in the middle of each and every last war. When are we going to end? When are we going to see that one war overtakes another one? And then we need to stop fighting against each other and fight for the injustices that's been put in place, of the reason why y'all going through what y'all going through and doing what you're doing.
Well, let's go down that rabbit hole. Some folks feel that at some point, right now, we know there's issues going on in our community, black on black violence against each other. But at some point, we talked about this today, with the gun buyback program. In some cases, are we being set up by giving up our guns when, there is possibly a war brewing? And that war most likely is going to be against, again, that community of those folks like the QAnons, the Proud Boys, those that feel that America is being stolen from them and being given to the illegal immigrants and to Asians and to black people and to the LGBTQ community and to everyone else. Are we being duped in some cases? We're not prepared. We don't teach our children, how to handle guns and utilize guns. But you see in their community, you got a little 9-year-old, 10-year-old little girl, shooting off an AK-47, and popping off at a watermelon, in a field somewhere, so they're preparing their children. They're teaching them survival mechanisms. They're stacking up on water and foods and things of that nature. So are we ill prepared? Because again, we have these own battles that are going on in our community, drugs, black on black violence, things of that nature. And we don't even realize that there's a battle coming up around the horizon that may be directly targeted against our people. Are we ill prepared?
Yes, Jason, we are ill prepared because, for one, the buyback program to me is a double-edged sword. We got people that's giving up guns, but who are the ones that's giving up their guns? Two, then you have the ones that's where we need to protect ourselves and reserve ammunition. But we going out here all willy-nilly just spraying and doing all kinds of crazy stuff and not understanding or overstanding that you need to be saving that, because when it do come down, when the revolution is televised, it's going to be too late, because that means that they're going to be giving you warning signals that bombs is dropping over top of your head.
Yeah, you're right. Or as attacks are being happened, or attacks are happening that we don't know, are happening, unless we hear it on social media. So I'm going to play the clip because some folks may be a little confused as what we're talking about, but there's incidences like this happening all over the country. There seems to be, I would say it's not tension on our side, because a lot of times we really don't care what they believe in or what they think in. We just kind of, but it's almost like a zealousness, a jealousness, and
Jason, what it is,
in some cases a retaliation,
Yeah, but no, what it is that we're not the initiators of anything, but we shall finish it.
Right. Well, let me get the clip here. So I have the clip, and I want to show you. And again, there's incidences like this that are sprouting up, and a lot of folks are saying it seems to have really kind of come front and center during the Donald Trump administration, and then slightly after the Donald Trump administration. We saw what happened in Virginia, with the tiki torches, and people being bulldozered over by vehicles, from just people that are just hateful, and racist and bigoted. We've heard of incidences of folks going into churches and shooting up churches, targeting Walmarts. They say the Walmarts that took place, the incident that took place at Walmarts, that Walmart was basically a Walmart that a lot of black folks and Hispanic folks patronized, and it almost seemed like it was a surgical targeting. And all of this is happening not too far off from the insurrection of January 6th. So again, is this their battle cry? Are they preparing in some cases, for a civil war? And again, these incidences of hate that we see around the country are really starting to sprout up even more lately. So let me. So this is an incident that took place in, I believe it was Montgomery, Alabama. It was during a boat ride. I'm not sure if some folks have had an opportunity to see this video. I'm pulling up the shared screen now. All right, and hopefully everybody can see that. I don't think it can go full screen because of how the video, it is one of those Facebook shorts, by the way. So let me take our camera off. But this is an incident that took place in Montgomery, Alabama, and I want folks to just watch. So actually, Yolanda, that was two incidences, correct? If I believe that's correct, that was two incidences that took place.
No, there was one.
Okay, well, it looks like it was like multiple fights.
No,
Because
that
at
was
the
the
end,
same family.
and it
It was
just
the
sprouted
same
out.
family, right?
Okay, it sprouted
I
out
guess
further down
right.
the dot. Again, what's interesting is that I've seen similar videos like this um, uh, all over TikTok, all over social media lately. Um, and it seems like there is this brewing issue between both communities, between white communities, black communities. Um, I think in some cases we really don't care about your privilege, so that's how we carry it. But I think in some cases they feel that we're supposed to respect their privilege and that we have no rights that they're supposed to recognize. The Dred Scott analogy. Um,
Well,
but
everybody's saying that basically, black people are wrong. Of course. It's very interesting. If you read the comments, you got some on there saying that they were wrong, and then you got some on there saying that they should have behaved themselves better.
That no, what they're saying, we should have been submissive,
right?
And
but respectful.
Saying
that they say we should have minded. They should have minded their business. They should have jumped in somebody else's stuff. But let's take a look at history. It was okay for the Ku Klux Klan to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And they had no reason. Those people had a reason to do what they did. You jumped some man, he threw the hat in the air like the bat symbol, and then it was like Wakanda jumped out. Oh my God, the memes are so funny.
Yeah,
I was there watching.
I should read some of the some of the comments here. I should read some of the comments. Let's see. So you have Chanel Dior says that now if we come together like this, we could take over the world. We will be unstoppable. And Chanel Dior, of course, is a black woman. And I think the queen is right. And she's got over 500 loves and likes in reference to that conversation. I think that we should be in defense of each other, that we should make sure that each other is all right. I got to give it up to the brother that swam across the water. He swam across the water.
Oh my! Look at the I want you to show the memes that I sent you.
We gotta give you a clap up for that, my brother. Like he swam across the water, and that's determination. Because again, we know how people have struggled, through enslavement, through Jim Crow, even through the civil rights struggle. The hoses, the dogs, the batons.
I want you to show those memes that I just sent you. Those are by far so funny. I was just there for the comments.
And you sent it to the groups?
No, I sent it to your wait a minute. I sent it to your phone.
Okay. So all right, let's see. So
my favorite one is the one from the bottom, the second from the bottom.
I wish I could show this some other way, but it says that. So basically, they're making memes in reference to this, and of course, a lot of the support looks like it's in support in favor of our community. So it's obvious that most folks that see the video understand that we were on the attack. I can't share it from my phone.
You want me to send it to the group?
If you send it to the group, I might be able to. But you have one that says August the 6th is now the Black National F around and find out day. So, but again, Yolanda, I swear to you, I've actually seen incidences like this taking place at restaurants, taking place at department stores. And actually, when I looking at this one from Montgomery, Alabama, a lot of them are kind of taking place down south, which is a little disturbing because, again, that means that down south, where you would think that there aren't these issues anymore, these issues still exist. All right, so let's see here. Yep. Hold on, I'm about to share them, and you did it in a way that I could share all of them. So,
well, I've made a mistake and separated one. The first one is saying,
so I'm trying to understand this first one. Maybe you could explain this first one to me, because sometimes I get lost a little bit. Like I'm not. Most folks might think that I'm pretty hip, but I'm not.
Oh, I love that.
So try to explain this. So explain this one for me. I'm still trying to understand this one.
They put a do-rag on the chair with some black shoes. Oh my God. The do-rag tied on the side. Wow.
Yeah. All right, let me go to the next one. Not the SS that has pulled up in Montgomery
with the Timberland boots. We know with the Timberland boots.
Not the SS dead ass pulled up in Montgomery, Alabama. The other one, and this is the one I really like. August the 6th is now Black National F around and find out day. Stamped. So here's another one. If you text this,
the swimmer and the boat.
And the swimmer and the boat, just know my people on the way. And I love it. I love the fact that, again, we will stand up. We will stand up to these injustices. I just wish that we would. Right. I still wish we would stand up for other issues, and come together on one accord. But I'm telling you, um,
if we did this with crime and education and housing, I promise you, we would be the most feared group, more than what we feared now. Because guess what? Knowledge is power.
Yeah.
Go to the next one.
Yeah, and you and if you mess with us, you gonna catch the beat down. So, that's the only one that I have. So that's the only one I saw.
That's the only ones that you have. That one.
That's it. Okay.
Open carry just got easier.
So he just carry a chair. That's it. Just carry a
to
chair.
The side of his pants.
I see. Just carry a chair. That's all. That's all you need.
Wait a minute. Go over another one.
Oh, there's another one. All right, hold on. Oh my goodness, these are funny though. All right, see if this will show up. Talking about this one.
No, Jason.
That's from Brooke. I'm sorry. That was on this one.
Look at Malcolm got the gun. He got the chair.
Is there any other ones? Because
yeah. Nathaniel
Nathaniel
invented the folding chair. Just to bring this moment in the news back to the 360 degrees close. A black man invented the folding chair. LOL.
Oh, you gotta have a little humor in this, because again,
go over.
Got another one.
Yeah.
Harriet Tubman didn't have a gun; she had a folding chair.
And then it's the same one that they show with the dent in it.
Anymore? Because I didn't realize that I had that picture.
I don't know. Go over.
And Q. I don't want to show any. Might show something we ain't supposed to be showing. We saw that one. That's it, I think.
Yep.
Yeah, we saw those. So, but again, we can make fun of it, but at the end of the day, again, it's quite alarming and disturbing that again these incidences are happening more and more, that they're becoming more prevalent in our community. It's almost getting to the point where it may not be safe to be around white people. And
I said that I was going to go to. What was that question that you asked me earlier? Where did I want to go?
Yeah.
What did you ask me? Where is it? The thing on Washington.
Oh, I asked you, did you want to go to the commemoration of the March on Washington with celebrating what Dr. Martin Luther King's march on the mall?
I want to make sure we on with a folding chair. Wait a minute, you can sit in.
They may say no folding chairs allowed. They may say no folding chairs allowed.
But not only can you sit in the folding chair, it's also the best weapon to use in the case of a brawl breakout.
Hey. Again, we can laugh about it, and make joke of it, but at the end of the day, it's
we got to find a way to find humor through our pain. That's what we've been doing our whole life. So why wouldn't we want to find humor in this? It was hilarious.
I get it.
I get hilarious.
it. I'm just saying to you that again, but it also, there's a reality here. There's a stark reality, that racism in its ugly head still is popping out. It's still prevalent.
Well, it says it in the Bible, the devil will soon reveal his ugly head. So, everything that's basically from the past, everything in the past affects your future. I don't know why people don't understand or get that, or why they not understanding. Why are we the only ones who don't have an agenda? And as you notice, the way they threw that black man on the ground, it still speaks volumes. Yeah, they're like,
right. Because out of everything else that was going on, you ain't, and you pushed the white lady out of the way when technically
for what? Safety?
Right, but here's the thing: she technically touched an officer,
and she should have been
arrested.
And
technically, she should have been arrested. But there's always a double standard. I said that today. Donnie Glover had the opportunity to host for Dr. K, and when I called up on the show, I talked about You all right? Hear a bunch of rumbling over there. And I had an opportunity to tell Donnie that there's a double standard in this country, especially when it comes down to policing. You know, the military has a higher standard of uh, use of deadly force, and they understand it in the military because, you know, you go to this village in Afghanistan and you start shooting people in the back, or you start treating people a certain way with the military presence in their country, you know, and you may get pop shots at you. The villagers may come at you. The villagers may not be cooperative. And it's almost the same thing that you see here in America, you know, where law enforcement comes and, you know, you get shot in the back, you know, you get shot with no weapon, you know, you get choked to death, you know, I can't breathe. We saw it with Eric Garner. We saw it with, you know, with George Floyd, you know, Eric Brown, you know, there's a double standard here when it comes to policing our communities. And you saw the double standard here, even in the Montgomery, Alabama incident here with the brawl that took place. Again, that white woman technically touched the officers. Technically, the officers should have engaged on her too as well. But, you know, it's like, you know, move out the way, privilege. You know, we got
you know
this.
What? She probably filed a lawsuit for them pushing her on the ground.
Oh, or probably filed a complaint. You know, probably filed a complaint. Oh, he touched me. You know, filed a complaint. But
like, you touched him first.
Right. But there's a double standard again. You know, even when I was saying with Donnie today, he was on WEAA, and I said to him, I said, you know, you have with Freddie Gray, you know, he died in custody.
Wait,
Anthony Anderson.
We're gonna call out Donnie. If you listening, if you can jump on real quick and give us your spill on what happened, or your thoughts about what happened, jump on real quick and give us something for about 5 minutes.
And so I was telling him that there's a double standard when you look at, you know, what happened with, you know, Freddie Gray, Anthony Anderson, even Donnell Rochester, because I explained the fact that
let's take it to Brooklyn Holmes, the boy that was actually recording the video. He was actually arrested, and he wasn't even woke. He was sleeping in his car when it first started happening, and he jumped out of his car because I guess he was scared it was going to get shot up. And when he went to go back to his car, they arrested him for disorderly conduct because he wanted to leave and they would not let him leave.
Wow.
And when he was released the next day, he was released with no charges.
Wow.
So you just had somebody locked up that has never been in any type of jail system.
You think anybody would apologize to him?
You think they just released him and let him go about his business. Which that speaks volumes to me. That means to tell me that you was wrong all the way around the board.
What do you think some of the things that we really need to be doing? I know earlier we had a conversation about this on Patrick Henderson's Meet the People radio show, and folks were saying that we should be teaching our children how to protect themselves. We should be showing them the respect of a gun. We should be stacking up water, stacking up canned goods, you know, stacking up non-perishable goods, because something is brewing in the air, and it may come up as soon as, you know, this presidential election, you know, especially with Donald Trump facing these indictments, you know, and this whole community, that the QAnons and the Proud Boys and them feeling, you know, that one of their fearless leaders, you know, may be taken down by a system, you know, that they feel is against them. I mean, what do you think we should be doing, and how should we be preparing ourselves?
Well, first of all, we need to be preparing ourselves with education on guns. Guns is not the ones that kill people. People kill people. So we need to take the guns out the emotional creatures' hands and put them, even if they're children, in responsible people's hands. Because we grew up around guns our whole life, but we knew not to touch them. We knew that it was just in case. You know, somebody broke in our house. You know, my father was a Black Panther. You know, I had family down in North Carolina. You know, guns was everywhere. They used it to go hunting and all kinds of stuff. And
I'm glad you brought that up.
And it's also protection against a viable threat. We're teaching our children all the wrong things when it comes to, and people all the wrong things when it comes down to guns. So I think that we need to put education of gun and gun controls in school so they can start to learn that guns are not basically your enemy. The person holding the gun is your
Correct.
enemy. And they're
Or the
making
person with the purpose, because again, if you have a purpose to do harm, you know.
right. So my brother, took my niece and my nephew to the gun range down in Detroit at a young age. They know how to shoot, but they also know the difference in between when to use it and when not to use it, and you do not use it in anger or in fear or retaliation. If you're going to fight, you fight it out, but it will not be a gun battle. It will not be a one-sided gun battle. And if you're going to do that, why don't we just do like the Wild Wild West when he's standing outside the saloon and then they turn backwards and then, count to 10 and turn around and shoot. Give somebody a fair chance. You just going to shoot somebody up while they're not paying attention or in the car or in a group or something. That's cowardly.
Yeah. Yeah. I wanted to bring this article up real quick because I was telling you that it's interesting that you brought this story up because I have personally seen articles recently that actually talked about the rise of anti-Semitism and the rise of hate crimes increasing in this country. We have a serious domestic terrorist threat, and it doesn't seem to be a lot being done. As you can see here, this is an article from 2023 that talks about 2022. Well, the article is from 2023, but it talks about, of course, they're doing a stats from a year ago that hate crimes increased in several major U.S. cities in 2022. And they're saying from New York to Los Angeles, hate crimes continue to rise in major American cities last year, with preliminary police data showing that at least 6 metropolitan areas recorded levels not seen since the 1990s. Since the 1990s. So I'm telling you, folks, and I think that, again, a lot of this is part of that, that whole Donald Trump. I mean, I hate to be a conspiracy theorist, but again, to me, I think he incites the worst in people, and encourages the worst in people. And instead of, if you're going to be a true president of this country, knowing that we have so many different dynamics, so many different groups, so many different religions, so many cultures, and so many different beliefs, that you are supposed to be a president that shows respect for all groups and encourages everyone to work together, so that we can keep this country strong. But what you're seeing instead is a lot of separatist language, a lot of racist language, a lot of hateful language coming out of Donald Trump. And when he speaks of things, that the them versus us, and if you come after me, we're going to come after you. Well, that's a battle cry. That's a battle cry, and I'm pretty sure that everybody, from every federal attorney general is probably, on high alert right now, because they're worried about possible threats, because they see this attack on Donald Trump. And again, if he was able to incite insurrection on January 6th, imagine if he sits there and says, you come after me, we're going to come after you. Well, who do you think he's calling that battle cry out to? Who do you think he's calling? Some crazy nut person, that may run up on some senator or some prosecutor, or some federal attorney general, in the process, may even run up on one of his own, Pence. We know that Pence was, one time the vice president in the corner for Donald Trump. He's now kind of separated himself. He's on the campaign trail and he's speaking a lot of anti-Trump language and, and separating himself from that whole Trump administration. Even Pence could be a target, if he's talking about, you come after me, I'm going to come after you. That sounds like some mob kind of language or mob talk, Yolanda. That sounds gangsterous, We still there?
Yeah, my bad.
Oh, there you go. Your audio.
Let's take what happened on that riverboat, and let's take what happened. Let's take what happened in the insurrection. It was no consequences for those individuals who did what they did, and that should have been considered as not domestic terrorism, but that violated the Patriot Act under their rules, under their watch, and it was nothing done. But then you gonna sit up there and slam this black man to the ground, who's probably facing a whole bunch of charges at this point for hitting somebody in the head with the chair. But what does that say when you sit up there and have to defend yourself? I don't know if they have a self-defense law. We know we don't have one. We have the right to retreat. But how fair is that? And if you ask me, certain things need to be taken out. We need a self-defense law, just in case.
Well, in some cities, because there are cities that do have a self-defense law.
I'm talking about us. We don't have one.
Right.
And if something was to actually break out here, and we have to find ourselves facing a racial war, how much trouble are we going to get into defending ourselves, defending our homes, defending our neighborhoods, defending that child? What is that actually going to look like?
Look, and we've seen the double standards here. We've seen it how they protect. You just had recently a bill for protecting against hate against the Asian community. Just within the last decade or so, we've had a bill against the LGBTQ community, and everyone keeps questioning, well, how come we don't have a bill to protect black people? How come we don't have a bill that protects?
Why don't you make it equal across the board and put it
that hate is hate? Right. That hate is hate.
Self-defense law.
Right. I want to read this article further. It says here that the FBI defines a hate crime, as a criminal offense motivated or in whole or in part by offenders' bias against race, religion, disability, sexual orientation, ethnicity, gender, or gender identity. And it says the Bureau has been collecting information in reference to these stats since 1991. It says in the decades since, most hate crimes have been motivated by racial bias within African Americans, the top target. I'm going to read that again. It says in the decades since 1991, since they have been collecting the stats from the FBI, it says that most hate crimes have been motivated by racial bias, with African Americans the top target. Not Asians, not the LGBTQ community, not Hispanics, not any other group. And again, I told you that lately, especially, since the sprouting of TikTok and these storyboards, and these little short clips, I've been seeing more and more of these type of clips lately, of incidences happening in restaurants, incidences happening in parks, neighbors, like Hatfield against the Jacksons, kind of, you got the white neighbor, against the black neighbor. These incidences are on the rise. And then it says in the article that out of 20 cities that they surveyed, that the uptick is as high in many of these cities. And I was just reading it. Where is it at? It was saying that the uptick is as high. It's as high as almost 18%.
We'll say Los Angeles, the population 643, hate crimes in 2022 up 13%.
Yeah. Yeah.
In other places of Chicago, Texas, it say improved hate crime reporting was partly responsible for last year's spike in reported incidents. Wow.
That was the other thing too that I noticed. I read in an article, and I think Patrick had said something about this. Patrick Henderson had said something about this at one time, that many of these cities or many of these different places hadn't reported. Like this was new for many of these cities. So now that these cities are starting to report multiple years of these racial attacks, these racial incidences, they're starting to notice that year over year that they're actually rising year over year. And it's almost like Antonio Piatella, I say this line all the time, has a book called Not in My Neighborhood, How Bigotry Created a Great American City, talking about Baltimore City and the bias and the bigotry of this city. And he has a retrospect at the end of his book where he talks about, the ending of white supremacy as we know it, the ending of racism as we know it, because in some cases you have more mixed families. You have the immigration population is growing by the millions. White purity is no longer white purity anymore because of these interracial relationships, interracial marriages, and you're seeing in some cases, the extinction of these dinosaurs. They're going away slowly but surely. They're dying off. Their children don't have sometimes the same philosophy, even though they try to teach it to them. They don't have the same philosophy. So we see these changes taking place in America, and it's starting to be more of that melting pot, interracial pot. And in some cases, this is the last hurrah for them. This is they're trying to hold on, to the little bit of grasp that they have. In some cases, they're utilizing governmental powers like the Supreme Court to end things like affirmative action, to take rights away from like the LGBTQ community and things of that nature. You see the attack that they're and the tools and mechanisms that they're using.
But
and
Jason,
it almost seems like this is the last hurrah for them, the last struggle for them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but you know what? I have learned to understand and understand that the government fears what it don't understand, and they create laws to attack against that. This is not just about that community there. When they create laws, they know that it affects everyone, including Black people. So when they want to sit up there and talk about taking rights away, they're talking about our rights. They're talking about talking about the rights of Black people. They just don't want to point it out.
I want you to see this last part, and I'm gonna have to bring the sound effects in for this one. We have to throw some boos at this one. We see in this article, it says the decline of anti-Asian hate crimes. So, but yet we passed a bill no more than a couple of years ago for protections, declaring that an attack on folks from the Asian community is considered and deemed as a federal hate crime. Again, they're not the one that's on the rise. It's our community that's on the rise.
But see, that community right there, every video that I have seen, when they considered it a hate crime, it was hated on the Black person first, especially down in Alabama at this nail salon where this Korean guy has a habit of being disrespectful and putting his hands on Black women, like fighting on them because, it was a couple of them that didn't like the services that they gave and the way that they were being talked to and treated, and they refused to pay. They locked them in the store. He put his hands on them, but yet Black people still. I blame Black people for this because you still chose to patronize that business.
Yeah.
And what happened with let's talk about what happened with the beer. They put that the transsexual on a can of beer, and white people took their money away.
I'm glad you brought that up.
A picture. Y'all need to take a picture, a snapshot out of that book right there, and know that when they fall in economics, guess what they do? They stop. You take the money away. You hit those pockets. You don't patronize somebody that do Black people wrong. I don't care who they are. Just like with the Jimmy Seafood thing, he got on there after all said and done. He got up there and saying, well, I'm not worried about it because Black people still come to me because I got the things that they want. I had beer and crabs. Wow. You might as well say
talking about
chicken and watermelon.
Right. So you bring up a great one because I was talking about this yesterday and I actually posted on Twitter in reference to this. Like, I was so disturbed at what took place. And, I'm not necessarily a supporter of certain, let's say, lifestyles. That's totally somebody's lifestyle. But I am in support that people should be able to be what they want to be, who they choose to be, and that's
it
human.
should not be forced down somebody's throat. If that's
Correct,
your person,
but
I want to be black. I'm not forcing it down your throat.
correct. And again, at the end of the day, we've seen things, and this incident has really sprouted up because of this gentleman right here, Kid Rock, who I told you yesterday. To me, he is a culture vulture. He first started off, you know, with hip hop, and he want the. If you see the picture there, off to the right, family, you see that he's got the braids in his hair, looking like who'd I say he looked like D'Angelo. Try to look like
D'Angelo, he
D'Angelo.
looked like he should have been playing on what is that
White Angelo.
no, what is that movie called with the vampires on it? He looked like he should have been playing on one of those movies.
But again, here's somebody that's obviously been a culture vulture. Has nothing original of his own to really offer. He has taken everything from hip hop culture. And then now all of a sudden when you look at Kid Rock now, let me take the hip hop away title. Now when you look at Kid Rock, he's this rock and roll cowboy, QAnon Proud Boy type of person now. And it all stemmed from a beer can. Actually, they were paying tribute to someone in the LGBTQ community, a transsexual from the LGBTQ community. Actually, I have the picture right here that I'm showing. And what Bud ended up doing was to just really show support for that community. They actually did a can with this particular transsexual woman. They actually did a can with her likeness on it. Now, they were never, from what we understand, they said that they were never going to take and put the can out there in the market. For some reason, why does it keep taking me to another page? I don't want to go to another page. I just want to pull the picture up. All right, hold on. For some reason, Kid Rock saw, this can and this, tribute to the LGBTQ community, and he went, bananas, and he decided that, he wanted to make this video, shooting with a submachine gun, an AK-47, cans of Bud Light, and encourage people to boycott Bud Light. What Kid Rock didn't realize was that this was going to cause an issue as far as the Bud company was concerned. Now they're getting ready to lay off, over 300, 400 workers. Their stock is down, and I'm pretty sure any other things that Bud Light, the Budweiser family, has continued to do, whether it's community, donations, foundations, things that all of that is affecting their bottom line because their sales are down 20 some odd percent because of the battle cry of some hateful American. And I hate to even call them American.
Wait a minute, but don't you think that that's a really, really fast fall for you to talk about layoffs and all this kind of stuff when it's just happened, right?
Well, we know that, again, that was the beer most likely. And I'm not trying to be bigoted or racist here, but, I've been to plenty of, when I work construction, I've been in plenty of situations where, they go get a frosty malted beverage, and that frosty malted beverage is a 24-pack of Bud or Bud Light, so we know that, that's not necessarily the drink for us. We the Coke 45s and, and we might drink some other beers too as well, microbrews and things like that. But, Budweiser is synonymous to, I hate to say, redneckism, as, as like you said earlier, Timberlands is synonymous to the black community, So, and then when you have a cry like that Kid Rock, gave out, in reference to boycotting of Bud Light, of course, there's going to be those folks that have issues with the LGBTQ community. These, again, white supremacists, these white hateful folks, these QAnon and Proud Boy type of folks.
Yeah, but why wasn't he cancel culture like they was doing black people?
Because you can't cancel culture somebody that's not part of our culture anymore. He's more accepted. When you see Kid Rock in his concerts.
We had people cancel culture in each other and other groups that was calling for a culture cancel because of certain things that they were speaking out against.
Oh yeah, it's. I actually see some of the smoke around the horizon, Yolanda. When I looked at Twitter and I looked at some of the comments on Instagram, there's a lot of people saying "F Kid Rock." He's talentless anyway. And they're like, "Kid Rock, who? Like, who is he?" Like a lot of people don't even feel that he's really
but
relevant.
let's take what Kanye did. Kanye lost millions and billions of dollars, and he was calling
Come on,
for.
come
And he
on,
was calling for
come on.
what is it, a GoFundMe page
Correct.
because of what white people didn't like that he did or said or whatever the case
Right.
may be.
Because he was basically saying that we were the original Jews. I mean, you know, he basically got attacked
The
on
truth
that.
needs no support.
Correct. Correct. And in some cases, what I feel we should probably do, and I think what everybody should do, one, I hope that we've been casted Kid Rock out of our community. You know, uh, again, to me, he's a perpetrator. He's a wigger. I'm gonna say it just straight up. And he's a culture vulture that has come and taken something from our community instead of having some respect and going out there, with some dignity, like somebody like an Eminem or a rapper like that, or even
We
I
got
told
1
you
minute.
Marky Mark. I told you like Marky Mark, one of my favorites from that era. Go out there and do some great things, and not disrespect the culture. But I hope that people boycott him. They don't go to his concerts. Concert venues won't allow him to book any concerts, and they keep him out of making any
He's still
money
doing
moving forward.
concerts. It's
Yes, he's doing
6:59.
concerts.
It's
Yes, he's
6:59.
doing concerts. And hopefully we ain't got to endure one of them concerts here in Baltimore. Maybe if he comes here, maybe
Is he
hopefully
the
the
one that saying get
LGBTQ
away, get
community.
away, get away
No,
now?
no, no, no. He's got the boom to bang to bang diggy diggy, stealing basically Busy Bees rap, because that was Busy Bees rap. And come on now, I'm a hip hop, knowledgeable person. I'm telling you, that was Busy Bees rap. But he turned it into some little rock, kind of hip hop thing, and it's definitely popular at all the rock concerts and stuff like that. But to me,
That's our
he's
time, Jason.
trash. He's trash. All right, family, we love y'all. We will see y'all next week here on Frontline News, same time, same channel. Yolanda, thank you.
Same people, stay black. If you
Yes.
try to, well, what was that my father said? You can change a lot of things about you. You can change your age. Your age changes. Everything changes except for your color. Stay true to who you are. Good night, and we love you.
Love y'all.